Let's continue Innsmouth 22. Load. There we are. You arrive at the port and see the sign of the Scuba Center, Plum Island Scuba. You have finally reached the place you were looking for. Hold on, I should probably make the cam just a little bit tinier so you guys can see the words. There we go. There they are. I finally found them. You enter the office of the Scuba Center and are greeted by the smile of a beautiful brunette with long hair and stunning blue eyes. Swear every character in this freaking game has blue eyes and it's kind of scary. Those eyes, that symbolism has to be important, especially with the game's loading screen and how often they're mentioned. And I have blue eyes. Like, I literally have blue eyes. What does that mean for me? Okay. Am I like a bad guy? Is that what that means? We'll find out. Or maybe I'm a good. Oh my god, she's me. Wait, Emma. That's the name of. Isn't that the name of the hotel lady? Hi, are you Lorenzo? Are you the Italian who booked the dives? Yes, that's me. Nice to meet you. And now we're here at the scuba place. Nice to meet you too. My name is Emma. We were waiting for you. You were a bit late. Yes, I'm sorry. It took me a while to find you. Emma, you too? You're the second beautiful girl named Emma that I've met in this place. Whoa! Lorenzo, relax. You have a girlfriend. You have a girlfriend, dude, okay? If I found out my man was going around telling people or calling other girls beautiful, it's over for him. Over for him. Yes, I know. She's my cousin. She works at the hotel where you're staying. How does she know where I'm staying? In our family, Emma is an important name. Oh, okay, now we're getting the lore backstory. You know, in honor of a boat, a two-masted sailboat that changed the fortunes of the family forever. Interesting story. You can tell me more later. Bro does not care. He really said you can tell me later. It's because he doesn't care. Did you sleep well? Why is she asking me if I slept well? Is she flirting? Chat, is this Riz? Not much. I still have to adjust to the time difference. I didn't sleep a wink last night. He's just like me for real. I'm so annoying. I'm saying something after every line in this game. I didn't sleep well last night either. I got 2 hours of sleep. And then I took a nap for 5 hours. So the 5 hour nap kind of fixed me, sort of. But at the same time, I didn't wake up until almost 7 p.m. So now my sleep schedule's screwed. I'm gonna be up super late. This is such a we ball moment. Like it just kind of is what it is. But don't worry, a nice bath will wake me up. By the way, could you prepare the equipment I requested in my mails? You quickly check the equipment. The wetsuit, fins, scuba tank, and snorkel all seem to suit you. The mask is strange, a type you've never seen before, but you think it will be fine. You turn the glasses in your hands. They look like 3D goggles. You've never seen sunglasses like this before. I'm not dude, you're the second person in like 2 days who told me I'm a gaslighter. What does this mean? Is this a sign? Am I actually a gaslighter guy? The area seems desolate. Despite the beautiful sunny day, the calm sea has a very light color, almost wintry. The water reflects an incredible amount of light and is dazzling, almost unnatural. This sea is really strange. I've never seen water of such a clear, intense, and dazzling color. Meanwhile, as Emma prepares the boat for the exertion, you wander away from school, strolling around the harbor. The stench of fish invades your nostrils again as soon as you approach the docks with the other boats or try to enter one of the small streets that lead inland to Innsmouth. Despite the stench, you enjoy watching the harbor and admiring the sea towards the horizon. Looking at the sea, even this dull place becomes fascinating. In the distance, wait, that's actually really pretty. I love the art in this game, by the way. I don't think I've said that yet, but I really like it. In the distance, you see some small islands, perhaps 2 kilometers off the coast. At a closer cliff, 700 to 800 meters from the shore, it doesn't seem artificial. Well, now why would a cliff be artificial? What do you mean by that? It's rugged, as if it were made of natural rocks with the colors ranging from sand to very dark brown, almost black. After a few minutes, you return to the sub-school. Yes, it's a nice place, full of shrimp and other crustaceans. Many divers go there to see the fish, which are searching for food. Today, we don't have time to stop. We'll go to the open sea to the Orange Shoal. I'm ready. Shall we leave immediately? Am I going diving by myself, or am I going with the people who invited me to the conference? I could have sworn I was supposed to go diving with other people. Yes, of course. The others have also arrived. Whoa. Why can't I speak? Today, there are 5 of you diving. Great. I can't wait. Okay, I am diving with other people. Perfect. Emma chats with 4 people. Then she turns to you and calls out to you. Lorenzo, you come here. Let me introduce you to our companions. You approach and are introduced to Chris and Tom, 2 guys in their mid-20s and a couple in their 50s, Sarah and John. Oh my god, they're fit. Hi, Chris. Hi, Lorenzo. Good to meet you. Are you ready for the dive? Hi, Chris. Yes, I'm ready. I'm very happy to join you. Am I going to dive fully dressed? Oh, hi, Tom. Wait, why are they all fine? There will be lots of things to see underwater. We're all excited. Emma told us that you're a champion freediver. Yes, that's true. Lorenzo dives down 100 meters deep without scuba tanks. We can't wait to explore the shoal sea together. Well, I'm glad there are several of us. We'll definitely have fun together. Before we leave, would you like some coffee? There are also muffins ordered by the house. Emma looks at you with a smile on her lips. You, Lorenzo, might need it. Thank you, Emma. I would gladly have a coffee and a muffin if it's not a problem. Sure, let's go get them together. With the group of divers and Emma, you have coffee before setting off for the dive. Come on, guys, let's hurry up. Back on the boat and stow your belongings in the 2 compartments, bow and stern. We need to leave as soon as possible. It's a beautiful day, but the weather forecast warns that the weather may worsen in the afternoon. Let's go to the Orange Shoal, which is about 6 miles from here. You and the group hurried aboard the boat, an aluminum motorboat about 10 meters long with 2 outboard engines of 200 horsepower each. It has a covered space for the pilot and 2 holds, one at the stern and one at the bow. Not a modern boat, maybe 20 years old, but diving schools often use boats like this. Check your equipment again. If you forgot something, I won't be able to help you. I only have on the boat what Lorenzo and I need. Oh, just Lorenzo and her? What about everyone else? Do you have sunglasses? Here, sun rays reflect on the sea surface and create strange effects, even hallucinations. It can also damage your eyes. Lorenzo, I recommend you always wear the glasses I gave you. You nod and put on the glasses. Everyone settles into the boat. Emma quickly removes the moorings and starts the first engine to leave the port. You move away from the dock slowly, with only 1 engine at idle. Emma pilots very cautiously. You pass by the islets? Islets? I don't know. Those are the plums from which we took the name from our school. Passing by the... Okay, I feel like I'm pronouncing this wrong, but I'm going to continue pronouncing it as islets. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to Google it. Here's our YouTube video. Islet. Islet. The speed must be about 20 knots. The sea is very calm and sparkling. This is just like that game Murky Divers. You and Emma wear the strange yellow glasses, unbraided and with a thicker frame than usual. Wait, is it just me and her? I thought everyone was on the boat with us. You're at the bow and look at the bright horizon and the almost transparent water. At some point you seem to see a long, dark mass on the horizon, maybe a cliff. After a while, the color of the cliff turns green, changing from dark to light, emerald full of light, and the cliff starts moving. Waves seem to roll around the reef, then what look like waves come to life. They're very long, bright green tentacles, sometimes not visible, sometimes very clear. At times, they are very well distinguished. You can't speak. With your arm, you signal to Emma, pointing to the tentacles, but Emma remains calm and smiling. The other passengers looking in the same direction seem not to notice anything. Okay, so we are with other people. You look again, but all the view seems blurred. You see very well up close, but on the horizon you can no longer distinguish anything except a glare. Let's go to the Orange Shoal. It's about 30 meters deep. We should be able to reach the bottom. Emma, did you see those tentacles? They were green and luminous. They seemed alive. Oh, yes, I saw them. Don't worry, they're just a peculiarity of these waters. Many people here have hallucinations, but also That's also why you have to wear the glasses. I can't speak when I put on a voice for other people. I can only be me. I can't even be me. But now we have to focus on the dive. The wonderful sea awaits us down at the orange shoal. That, I don't think that was a hallucination. You can't get that vision out of your head, but you focus on preparing your diving equipment in the next dive. Lorenzo, wear the mask, otherwise you can't see anything. You wear the mask to try it on. It is perfectly waterproof, then you take it off. Okay, here we go. Now we go down and follow the bottom until we reach the shoal. Lorenzo, please go down first. See if we are above the rocks or if the bottom is sandy. I don't like that I'm being forced to go first. I'm taking off my glasses. You take off your glasses to prepare for the dive, but decide to look at the horizon for a while. Without glasses, a blinding light prevents you from seeing well. Oh, I should have kept them on. Before putting your glasses back on, you try to look at the horizon, but your vision is blurred. So, without glasses, you will have vision problems tonight. Some have had corneal damage. Yes, you're right, there's a blinding light. You nod, then dive into the water. You feel the cold water on your skin, but after a few seconds, you feel comfortable. You're very focused on the dive you're about to take. As you descend, you notice that the water becomes darker and deeper, and the bottom keeps moving away, but the fins give you the right push and help you move forward without much effort. After a few minutes of descent, you finally see the Orange Reef. It's a huge rocky formation rising from the seabed, surrounded by swarms of colorful fish swimming around it. You are breathless from that beauty. You feel like you're in another world, far from everything, immersed in a peace and beauty you've never experienced before. And in that moment, you know you will never forget that experience. You want to reach the bottom of the reef, as you used to do as a child, and stay there admiring the beauty of nature. Then it's time for you to resurface. You have learned to start with a short dive first. There's rock below. Perfect. It's a nice spot, full of fish. We could stop here. Emma turns off the engines and prepares to drop anchor. We are at 6 or 7 miles from the coast. Get ready, guys. We'll all jump together. And please, no unnecessary risks. You start dressing, taking turns using the holds below deck. After 5 minutes, the whole group is wearing wetsuits, tanks, have the mask on their foreheads and fins in their hands. Sarah and John are adjusting their fins. Emma already has the mouthpiece in her mouth and is making some final adjustments to her wetsuit. Is everyone ready? Let's go then. Emma dives first, followed by the others. The water's cold, but you feel excited and focused. You look down and see a sandy seabed not far away. You start swimming in that direction. After a few minutes of swimming, you reach the other rocks. They are very large and full of crevices and caves. You illuminate shoals of fish swimming around you. You turn around and see that Emma is following you. She's about 20 meters from you. At one point, you see a large shadow moving behind a rock. Emma, look over there, you signal, pointing at the shadow. Emma turns and looks in the same direction. She signals that there are no problems. You continue to watch attentively, but you don't see anything strange anymore. You all make several dives in groups of 2. You're with Emma, and you reach the bottom of the reef. In a spot far from the others, you are on the border of the reef because you can see a much deeper seabed nearby. Emma indicates you to go further and return to the surface. This is the border of the reef. If you go beyond, the seabed's about 80 meters deep. Do you think you can descend that far? I should. I'm not very trained, but it used to be normal for me to go to those depths. Alright, let's give it a try. You swim for a few minutes looking down. Then Emma signals you to look below towards the seabed. There's a very bright and shimmering green light at the bottom of the sea. It's a small light but very intense. What is it? It should be the wreckage of an old boat. The reflections are probably due to something metallic. The water around here often has a strange light. Shall we go down and take a look? Of course, you'll see it's a beautiful seabed. You try to descend around 30 meters, but then you signal to Emma indicating your tank. Your air is running out. You ascend towards the surface and Emma follows you. My tank is running out. Don't worry, I'll help you with mine. Let's try to reach the green light. Okay, but let me do some breath holding first. I'll dive down and use the remaining air to come back up. The seabed is about 8 meters deep. Whoa! You don't hear the answer because you're already immersed. You feel a huge desire to reach the green light on the seabed or whatever it is. You descend meter by meter until you finally see it up close. In those moments, you feel like a kid again when you were a freediving champion. You have a diving torch on your mask, and when you turn your head to look at the seabed, you can see quite well. On the seabed, there are stones arranged in a geometric shape as if forming a pyramid. It's clearly a man-made artifact. You manage to touch the source of light. It's an object covered in algae, about 30 to 40 centimeters in size. You try to pull it towards you, but you can't extract it from a group of rocks where it's wedged. You wonder how it's possible that an object covered in algae at a depth of 80 meters emits light. You know you have only a few seconds left before you have to ascend. As you tug at the object, you glance around and the torch on your mask illuminates everything. The water is incredibly bright, a very bright emerald green. You think it's the algae, but then you realize that something strange is happening. The entire mass of water around the object, first for a few meters, then for tens of meters, then beyond, much beyond, is lighting up with a light green color. You hear it. At first you don't understand what it is. Then you focus your attention and you're certain. It's a breath, slow and very deep. At a depth of 80 meters, surrounded by brilliant light green water, you hear it again. A breath, slow and very deep. It's as if a huge creature is coming back to life. Panicked, you give one last tug to the object, pulling it towards you with all your strength. You finally manage to tear it down from the rocks holding it. You're just in time to ascend. That's not English. It sounds like the breath and heartbeat of a living creature. No, it's not possible. It must be a delusion. Emma waves you to hurry up. I need to understand what it is, but there's no time. I have to go back up. I have almost no air left. As you ascend, you feel pursued by the breath and can't control the ascent times. You turn around, but for a moment you see it. A huge creature is looking at you. It is made of very long water tentacles that move rhythmically. You're overcome by panic. You've been diving for a long time, at least 4 minutes. You return to the surface, compensating several times, and after a few dozen meters you realize that Emma's waiting for you. She has stayed 30 or 40 meters deep waiting for you. You ascend together until you reach the surface. You reach the surface at the same time. You're exhausted and hold up the recovered figurine. Emma immediately notices the statuette and changes her expression. Give it to me. It's ours. That statuette belongs to my family. The fuck? You're very tired and take a deep breath to recover from the effort. Saying nothing, you hand her the object, throwing Emma a confused look. Her eyes have become very clear, almost white. In these moments, she doesn't resemble the beautiful, smiling girl from before. For a moment, she remains still, as if in a trance. Then she starts swimming, at first slowly, then faster, reaching the boat. She seems to have a mission to accomplish. She climbs on board and disappears into the hold for a few minutes. You followed her, but you didn't get on the boat. Confused, you think back to when you held that strange object in your hand during the ascent to the surface. You didn't have much time to look at it closely, but it seems to be a statuette depicting a man. Maybe the same man that showed up on our computers and whatnot last night. Once we surface, you have time to look at it more carefully before Emma takes it. It's a statuette, half banded, half animal, with tentacles instead of hair. It looks like stone, green, but iridescent. It has strange reflections. Then your thought goes to the incredible green light and to the breath. You are sure it was a breath. Guys, it's time to return to the port. In the afternoon, strange currents often form, and I don't want to find myself in difficulty. Let's go. One by one, you and the other 4 passengers get on the boat, taking off your gear and staying in your wetsuits. You will change in the port. The sea's getting choppy, but there's a lot of air. It's not a strong wind, but it's colder than the morning. Emma seems worried and drives the boat at full speed. Her not to risk it and decide to warn Emma of the impending danger. Look, a storm is coming. On the horizon, there are already flashes and thunders, and the sea's getting rough. We need to hurry back. In this part of the ocean, the storms are terrible. It's very risky. The forecasts do not predict such a worsening of the weather. Forget the forecasts. They don't work well here. Guys, hold on tight. I need to give us some gas. You look outside the boat for a while longer, then decide to enjoy the view. You feel confused and you can't find the words to express what you feel. Actually, you don't feel like talking. After a while, Emma turns to you. So, are you worried about something? No, it's just that it's been a strange experience we had today. I know. But sometimes it's better not to try to understand everything. Things always find a way to reveal themselves. Nod slowly, getting the distinct feeling that Emma knows much more than she's saying. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, thanks for the day at sea. It's been a long time since I felt the sensation of getting lost in the depths. Emma smiles at you, then returns her focus to navigation. You look outside the boat for a while longer, then decide to enjoy the view. You're still confused, but you feel that you shouldn't panic. Answers will come sooner or later. Since you arrived in that weird little town, strange things have happened. The first night with the noises and the computer that, while turned off, started coming to life. You remember the old man on the screen. Then you saw the cliff on the horizon, animated with tentacles, the statuette, the lighted water at 60 meters in that breath. And then Emma, who transformed from a young, smiling girl into an emotionless being. You think of Laura in a mix of nostalgia and guilt for hardly ever thinking about her since you left. Ooh! Thank goodness I'm going back home on Friday. Laura, your man ain't shit. After docking, Emma quickly moors the boat. It's clear she's a pro. Lorenzo, can you help me? Sure. Okay, if she's a pro, she doesn't need my help. Once the boat is moored, everyone takes turns stripping off their diving suits and gets ready to leave the port. They all thank Emma for the great trip and say their goodbyes. You get off the boat and head towards your hotel. As you walk along the harbor, you feel someone tap your shoulder. You turn around and see Emma behind you. Lorenzo, I'm sorry for how I acted. I didn't mean to be rude. But that statuette's very important to my family. Why is that at the bottom of the ocean? I was a bit shaky when I saw it in your hands. You nod but say nothing. Emma smiles at you. She's back to being the delightful girl from that morning. Lorenzo, the port authority called me. Bad weather is expected tomorrow. There will be strong currents. They won't allow motorboats out. I get it. Anyway, today was a pretty intense day. We saw some beautiful seabeds. What's there to do here in Innsmouth? You can take a swim. Just don't go too far. Maybe head over to Plum Islands. Sounds like a good plan. I'm still jet-lagged from the trip and need to recover. A day of relaxation will do me good. Strangely, you feel relieved about the trip being cancelled. Valid. Me when plans get cancelled. The weird events that happen in Innsmouth come back to mind. The idea of swimming alone sounds good to you. You retrace your steps. You have a great sense of direction and easily find your way back to the hotel. You enter the hotel. The other Emma's there. Hey, Lorenzo. How are you? Did you have fun diving? Yeah, the sea was fantastic. I met your cousin. I know. Didn't I mention my family owns a diving school? My cousin's one with the sea. She's more than a cousin to me. We're like sisters. Some people say we're the same person. It's 'cause you are. I'm more shy, though, and less of an adventurer. You suddenly feel uneasy. This town's got a creepy vibe. That's what I've been saying. You've never met such weird and mysterious folks before. But at the same time, you're intrigued. By the way, are these your sunglasses? Your sunglasses are on the table. Yes, they're mine. I thought I'd lost them. Where'd you find them? They were here, on the reception desk. That's not true. You know it well, but prefer not to say anything. It's another oddity. You wonder why anyone would take your glasses. Oh, maybe they took his glasses so he could see the hallucinations. Did you know that you can't go out to sea in a boat tomorrow? What do you want to do? Stay here or head to Boston a day early? I think I'll spend another day here just chilling. I'll leave for Boston early on Sunday. I'll still have the whole day to check out the city. Great choice. Let me know if you need anything. Thanks. You're always so kind. You head to your room and take a hot shower and feel a lot better. You stand under the running water for at least 10 minutes. You're feeling more rested after the free dive, but your muscles are still sore and you're out of shape. After your shower, you notice the smell of fish is gone. You smell fresh. You put on some clean clothes for dinner. You check your emails and messages on your phone and start replying. There are 2 messages from Laura. She misses you and asks how the dive went. You reply, everything's good, honey. Today I went over 60 meters deep, haven't done it in years. I honestly thought I couldn't make it, but strangely I felt like a fish, sending you kisses. You wonder how you managed to dive down to 80 meters and pry the statuette from the rocks holding it. If they had told me earlier, I wouldn't have believed it. I didn't think I was still in shape. After getting dressed, you leave the hotel and head to the restaurant where you had dinner the night before. Now it seems more welcoming, with a warm and familiar atmosphere. The shabbiness of the furnishings seems almost deliberate, in line with that strange city. You sit at a table and start looking through the menu. The waiter from the day before recognizes you and greets you warmly. Good evening. Everything okay? Please sit down wherever you prefer. Good evening to you, thank you. Do you already have an idea of what to order, or shall I give you some time to decide? My yesterday's hamburger was delicious. I'll have the same dishes as yesterday. Hamburger and fries and a nice beer. Alright, I'll bring the beer right away. While waiting for your food, you observe the other restaurant customers. There's an elderly couple holding hands, a family with children playing with their cutlery, and a group of friends laughing and joking loudly. Suddenly, you hear a voice behind you. If it's Emma, bro, I swear. Oh my god! Dude, she wants me. But I have a girlfriend named Laura back home. I don't want her. I don't want Emma. Sure you. Emma, you look at her surprised. Of course, with pleasure. What brings you here? I didn't feel like cooking tonight and decided to come here to eat, but I don't like eating alone. Please have a seat. Tonight I feel like having some fish. I'll have a clam chowder and a portion of fried calamari. Emma and you start chatting in a very friendly way, talking about your lives and passions. You tell her about your career as a professor of ancient history and your future projects, while Emma talks about her passion for the sea and her family. Tell me more about the statuette. Why is it so important to you? Finally. The food arrives and you start eating. Emma sure loves her calamari. That statuette means a lot for our family. It's a symbol of our past times. I enjoy talking to you. I hate her. I'm sorry, I hate her. She's a homewrecker. Surely she doesn't have a wife. Wife? Girlfriend. Same thing. You're an interesting person. I appreciate the fact that you're not impressed by the strange things that happen to you in this little town. Okay, or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll be too harsh. Maybe she's not like hitting on me. I'm not sure if that's true, but thank you. I have to admit that I'm a little confused by everything I've seen today. I understand. It's normal. These days, we're only used to what is strictly practical and real, so a statuette with extraordinary powers seems like madness to us. Extraordinary powers? What powers are you talking about? Emma burst into a loud laughter. I just wanted to scare you. But I didn't succeed. What are your plans for tomorrow? In the morning, I will go diving along the coast as you suggested, then we'll see. If you go to the islands, be careful not to enter the caves. Some can be rather dangerous, as they are tunnels. But it can be difficult to get out of it. I would like to accompany you, but unfortunately, I've made a commitment. Don't worry, I'll manage it. Now, excuse me, but I have to go. I need to plan some exertions next week. Bye, Emma. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Have a good evening, Lorenzo. Gee, I wish I'd asked Emma fewer questions about what happened to me. He's just like me for real. I'll start my own investigation. Where do I start? Oh boy, oh boy. Start with the shoal of Orn. I would like to return to the reef. I need to understand the origin of the strange brightness of the sea at that point. And the breath, the pulse. I wonder if the weather conditions will allow me. I'm gonna die. And then I have to find a boat that will take me. I don't want to tell Emma. Back in the room, you lie down on the bed and close your eyes, trying to relax and surrender to sleep. But your thoughts are too turbulent to allow you to easily fall asleep. Twin. You roll onto your side and pick up the book, but you can't concentrate on the plot. You think back to the statuette, the green light, and the mysterious breath at the bottom of the sea. Emma's strange attitude. What is the girl hiding? What does she know about the statuette, and why was she so determined to get it? As you get lost in these thoughts, sleep suddenly overtakes you, almost without you realizing it. You dream of swimming in crystal clear waters, searching for something. The green light guides you, but when you reach it, your face turns into Emma's, with transparent eyes and a tight mouth. You wake up suddenly, your heart racing. You look at your watch, 2 o'clock in the morning. You breathe deeply, trying to calm yourself down. You decide to get up. You look out the window, everything is peaceful, no one around. You then decide to go out, take a walk, even though it is so late. You don't want to spend another night of nightmares. You leave the hotel and walk down the streets of Innsmouth. No one is around. Man, imagine being able to walk at night. That's so man-core. After about 10 minutes, you reach the beach. The fresh night air is good for you, and the sea of the sea brings back the image of green light in the deep. You wonder what that light means and why it attracted you so much. You think again about that strange breath. Did you really hear it, or is it your imagination? At a depth of 80 meters, the brain can play nasty tricks. As you walk on the sand, you see a bonfire. You decide to approach it. It's a group of about 10 young people having a party on the beach. Or rather, they're dancing awkwardly without music around the fire. They have several beer bottles and they smoke. Judging by the strong, acrid smell, they're smoking joints. Who are you? I'm an European tourist, Italian. I couldn't sleep and thought I'd take a tour. Do you mind if I stay here for a while? Not at all. If you don't mind witnessing our magical dance, we are invoking a god. Everyone bursts into laughter. What do you mean? Nothing much. There are ancient stories that are told here in Innsmouth. Legends? I think they refer to the period when sailors, merchants, and slaves from Africa, especially, came here from all over the world, at the time when Innsmouth was an important trading port. Those were surely some wild times, to say the least. Okay, I'll stay here for a while. I hope your dance will calm me a bit so I can go back to sleep. Go back? Wait, Shirley's not sleeping on the beach. Everyone laughs. Nice pendant you have. Can I see it? Of course. It's the image of the sacred fish. Thanks. In my family, we have passed it down for generations as a symbol of good luck and very long life. My grandmother gave it to me, urging me never to take it off. It seems to bring good luck and can prolong the life of those who always carry it with them. In fact, some people have the image of the sacred fish tattooed. On the back of the medallion, there's a piece of the map. What map? According to legend, there are several similar medallions. Together, the medallions allow you to discover the location where treasure is kept. That is, if you can interpret these characters, which no one knows. The boy laughs. Okay, thanks for the chat. Now I say goodbye. I'm going to sleep. Good night. You're on your way to the hotel, roaming the streets of Innsmouth at night. Drawn by the eerie and mysterious vibe of the town, you spot a faint light coming from a small chapel hidden among the rundown buildings. Sneaking closer, you peek through a dirty window. What you see takes your breath away. It's a ritual! Oh! I was joking. I was joking. But okay. Inside the chapel, a group of hooded figures stands around an altar lit by flickering candles. Wait, this is wild. The hooded individuals chant in a monotonous tone in an unknown language. Meanwhile, in the center of the altar, a taller, imposing person performs ritual gestures holding a mysterious marine relic. You wonder, who are these people and what are they doing? Your heart pounds in your chest as the air around the chapel seems to grow more oppressive. You feel trapped between terror and curiosity, eager to learn more, but at the same time scared of being discovered. In your mind, thoughts chase each other in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. This town hides so many secrets. You think, trying to figure out what this dark ritual could mean. As you lean in for a better look, you knock over some timber debris and make noise. Uh-oh. It's over. Drawn by the mysterious ceremony happening inside the small church, you cautiously approach and peek through the window to observe more closely, trying to catch every detail of the ceremony. With your eyes glued to the scene, you manage to glimpse the face of the hooded man leading the ritual. Wait, who do we think it is? Okay, it could be the waiter. Or it could be like that old man that we saw on our computer. Or it's John. Ugh! Okay, none of the above. A dim light barely illuminates his figure, but you can make out the horrifying features of a fish man with large, scaly eyes. What am I saying? That man, he almost doesn't look human. Oh, yeah. Nice take. Again, this art is gorgeous. You decide to run away immediately at the sight of that horror. You head towards the hotel and reflect on what just happened. You conclude that it was just a mask and that no such creature exists. Still slightly shaken, you return to the hotel. In the morning, you are awakened by the reflections of light passing through the window curtains. You check the time, it's 9 o'clock. You quickly get dressed and go down for breakfast. You meet Emma. Hi. Good morning, Lorenzo. I hope you slept well. Yes, thank you. I crashed last night. I was exhausted. I believe you. The time difference, the immersion. What do you plan to do this morning? I think I'll take a nice bath. Maybe I'll get to the islets. How's the weather? I don't think it'll rain. It's a bit cloudy, but I don't think you'll enjoy getting to the plums. However, you don't have the equipment. You may want to ask Emma about it. I don't need it. Yesterday I went snorkeling for quite a while, and I realized I'm still in good shape. I was afraid it'd be worse. It's been at least a year since I went diving. I'll use the mask I brought from Italy. It's not great, but it'll do for today. Great. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. You go up to your room to get ready. You put on your swimsuit, a t-shirt, and pack a towel and sunscreen in your bag. You leave the hotel, waving goodbye to Emma. You pass the port and stop on the beach where the night before you met the guys around the bonfire. There's no one there. You undress and stare in your swimsuit. You only have a mask, but you're a great swimmer. Even without fins, you show no problem. The small islands lie about a mile from the shore. Between them and the shore, about halfway down, there's a dark rock cliff. The sea is calm, although the sky is gray. Occasional rays of sunshine penetrate the clouds and make the water sparkle. In those fleeting moments, you see the sun on your skin, experiencing a nice sensation. You enter the water. After a few steps, you dive and start swimming. The water is cool, pleasant. Every couple of minutes, you stop to rest. You look around. It's not a bad day. It's probably not going to rain, you think. After about half an hour of swimming, you begin to see the rocky bottom. By now, you're close to the islets, about 200 meters away. You stop to rest. You begin the breathing that precedes the dive. You go down. You descend to the bottom, about 15 meters deep. From there, you see the islands with rocks all around. You come back up. You prepare for a new, longer dive, this time near the plums. You want to see the caves that Emma told you about. You prepare for a few minutes of dive. Love that I'm going to the caves I was told not to go to. In front of you, you see rocks and caves. The sea is dark, but at times it lights up when the sun's rays pass through the clouds. There are many fish. You approach until you touch the rocks. The surface is uneven, but strangely smooth. You ascend every 2 or 3 minutes. You stay for about 10 minutes on the surface and then dive. The bottom is about 50 feet. For someone as experienced as you, it's a piece of cake. You're not tired and you really enjoy exploring the rocks, surrounded by a multitude of fish. At some point, you come across an almost vertical rocky wall. Immediately, you realize that it's different from the others because the color of the rock is darker. You look closer. It is an historiated wall. You see many geometric lines and strange characters. There are carvings. You want to understand what they represent, but you have to go up. You take a breath and go back down. Suddenly, a lot of light penetrates. The sun rays are filtering through the water. For a moment, you see the whole wall clearly. It's about 30 meters long and 2 meters high, completely carved. The sun rays come and go, depending on how much they are obscured by the clouds. Underwater, the effect is as if the wall with the inscriptions is flashing. It lights up and darkens every few seconds. For a few moments, you can see well indecipherable symbols, stylized fish repeated in many places, and monstrous creatures. You can't distinguish them well. They are half fish and half human, sometimes winged, and have monstrous faces of snakes, frogs, and fish. Too bad you don't have fins and scuba tanks. You would have liked to look at the inscriptions more clearly. You have to go back to the surface. You've been diving for a few minutes. In a few seconds, you take a breath. The weather's getting worse. Seems like a storm's about to come. You remember Emma's words about sudden weather changes. These are the same drawings and characters painted on the facades of many houses in the village. Half fishmen, the sacred fish, as the boy called it last night. And the sequences of indecipherable characters. I wonder what they have to do with Maya and Indian symbols. Maybe there's no connection, or maybe there is. You have a swim of almost a mile ahead of you and you start feeling tired. Dang, a mile? The strong currents take you further away. You have to make double effort to swim towards the shore. The sea's getting rough. Occasionally, a wave higher than the other forms. You struggle, but you're an excellent swimmer. At a certain point, you turn around and see a fairly high wave coming towards you. You stop to wait for it to pass, but at 10 meters from you, the wave loses power. It passes over you without violence. You can gather your strength and return to shore now. But it doesn't feel like it's going to rain. You're happy with the day of freediving. Sometimes you feel the sun's rays on your skin. It's a very pleasant feeling. You close your eyes and look up towards the sun. Hello, Lorenzo. You turn around and see Emma. I've been looking for you for a while. You've been in the water for quite some time. Why is she stalking me? Almost 3 hours, I went to the islets and did a lot of dives out there. I'm glad I went. I found some inscriptions on the rocks. Oh, yes. The plums are full of engraved stones, made more than 100 years ago. Can you still see them? I thought the water and the algae might have erased them. No, they're clearly distinguishable. Who made them? I don't know. I've heard several times that slaves who came from Africa made them. These Africans remained in Innsmouth for a while before being sold to landowners as farm workers. Innsmouth was an important port a long time ago. Who is shooting a gun near my house? Guys, it's Christmas Eve. The spirit of jolly and joy. Why are we shooting guns? Interesting. So they would be the work of a different culture. I think so. Now I need to leave you. I have work to do. See you later. Have a good day, Emma. You stay a little longer to dry yourself well. You put on your shirt and decide to head back to the port. As you walk, you think of Emma. What a strange girl. She's very kind. Nice and kind. But when you ask her some questions about strange things happening here, she's always evasive. I have a feeling she knows a lot more than she's saying, and I feel like she's controlling me. Oh. 3 hours in the water made you hungry. You decided to grab a coffee and a sandwich at a cafe you spotted this morning near the harbor. It's small inside, but there are a few tables on the outside porch with an ocean view. You walk in and are greeted by a smiling, chubby, bearded man around 60. Welcome. Come on in and make yourself comfortable. I'll be right with you. You take a seat. Thanks. So, what can I get you? We serve brunch on weekends. What's in your brunch? Eggs, bacon, coffee, orange juice, and fresh cheese. But you've got any special requests, we'd happy to accommodate you. Sounds perfect as it is. Maybe I'll also like a banana, if possible. Between yesterday and today, I'm really worn myself diving and I need some vitamins. Sure, I'll bring you a banana. If you want, we also have apples and oranges. Sounds great. You feel a strange sense of fulfillment and realize this trip's doing a lot of good. It feels ironic, but regardless of the experience you've had, you're glad to be in Innsmouth. A nondescript ocean port, somewhat shabby and abandoned, yet it feels familiar. The bartender brings your brunch. Here you go, hope you like it. No worries, I'll eat it all. I'm really hungry. Can I ask you something? Of course. This place, Innsmouth. I get it. You're intrigued by the oddities of this ugly little seaside town. Exactly. I'm from Italy and around Boston, I expected to find more modern cities. Well, Innsmouth is part of Isbridge. I cannot say that word. But there used to be two separate towns. Oh, I'm too large. A little smaller. Isbridge was less significant, while Innsmouth, until around 1950, was one of the East Coast commercial ports. Thanks to some local families, the Marshes, the Elliots, the Gilmans, and the Orns, Innsmouth became a thriving port around 1850. All sorts of goods arrived here, but also African slaves, opium, rum, and illegal immigrants. The families I mentioned managed the sea trades, owned ships, and were all related to each other. They decided everything around here as soon as they became very wealthy from the trades. Legal trades? Perhaps they weren't always legal. There's talk of quite a bit of smuggling. For a long time, desperate people from everywhere came to Innsmouth, often bringing their customs and a few strange religious rites. They say the last slaves arrived here long after the abolition of slavery. But that's just hearsay. No one can tell you for sure. Guys, should I be a voice actor for a bartender? Let me know. What kind of rights are you talking about? I don't know much, but it's no secret that Innsmouth was home to some cults, which weren't just the voodoo rites of the slaves. As I said, I don't know much, even though I've lived here forever. And then what happened? With the these trades and the deadline of the Innsmouth families, the place became gloomy and abandoned. Fewer and fewer people lived here, which makes sense since there aren't any jobs. But I've noticed quite a few young people around. It's been repopulated for the last 20 years or so, mostly because a house here costs less than half of what it would cost at Ipswich. It's almost becoming trendy among alternative young people and Ipswich families. They buy a place here but only come to sleep. Also, some artists have moved to the area. I see. Thanks for the explanation. Do you know the diving school? Sure, they're the descendants of the Elliots. The two girls are very skilled and are reviving the family business. Is it both Emmas? One has turned the shipping company into a diving school. The other runs the hotel, the Gilman House, which is now called something else. I can't remember the new name because everyone still uses the old one. Elliott's Inn. I'm staying there. Oh yes, the Elliott's Inn. Even though the girls have different last names because their mothers were Elliots, old Elliot has 4 daughters. The port's still up and running, so are a few cargo ships docked. Yeah, it's working. It's busier than usual, especially since the S&A guys showed up. Who are they? There are folks from out of town who originally got menial jobs at the port. Then they got organized, formed their own crew, and now they run everything. Some folks don't like them because they can be bullies sometimes. Meaning, well, let's just say they pushed a few of the local old-timers to sell them their businesses. Well, that sucks. Nothing violent, though. Those who aren't fans call them a gang. Maybe because a couple of them used to be bikers. To me, they're just good customers. I do not quite understand whether these S&A guys are criminals. I would call them that. They're a bit thuggish and adventurous. But according to rumors, they're behind the illegal night shifts. Oh! That's a dog. Many of them are also part of a biker gang. Hey, we stalked by bikers. You often see them running around in Innsmouth in groups. Quite a few of them are natives, came to the coast looking for luck. I think I met them yesterday when I arrived. I didn't arrive yesterday, you liar. I arrived 2 days ago. I think. They sized me up from head to toe but weren't aggressive. They did seem like shady characters, though. Let's just say, yeah, they're shady. You pay the bill. Got it, thanks for everything, the great brunch and the trip. Thank you. You get up and leave the bar. After lunch, you leave the bar and look at the harbor. It's quiet. You hear the noise of many seagulls flying around, landing here and there in search of food. Hey, stranger. It's Emma. You hear. You turn around and see an elderly gentleman aged between 70 and 75. Never mind. He's dressed in a pair of work pants and an old shirt. He has a stern expression. Good morning. Good morning to you. I'm Jim Zadok. Who are you? My name is Lorenzo Riggi, and I'm an Italian tourist here for a couple days. Just absolutely just like doxing myself to a stranger. I don't know this man. Tourist. There are a few of them around here. What have you come here for? 2 days of diving. Ah, I see. You went to sea with Emma. Yes, do you know her? Yes, I see her around. I know her family well, the Elliots. I also worked with them as a young man in the canned fish factory. What do you do now? I live on my pension and spend my days at the port. If I see someone new, I like to talk to them, as I did with you. Jim, have you always lived here in Innsmouth? I was bored here. The Zaddocks were one of the most prominent families around here, although we never had much money. My ancestors were fearless sailors and often went to sea in very risky situations. What kind of risks? 3 or 4 times a year, they would leave with a ship for special trades in some remote place in the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. Most of them would return, but someone from the crew would always die. It was a time when piracy still existed. I just heard another gunshot. My grandfather also used to tell me about incredible stories that took place here in his mouth, about pagan rituals, about parties, about group hypnosis. When a ship full of desperate people arrived from some Caribbean island or even from Africa, they would hide them because they were not registered. Sometimes when the police raided, the irregulars would take refuge wherever they could, even in the water near the Plum Islands. Once they had to stay there for 2 days, always in the water with very little food and water. Then it all ended. Innsmouth became a place forgotten by God and men. But I feel that there is still something evil around the city and even at sea. Here you cannot walk around freely everywhere. They do not want you to go to some forbidden places. It is said that there are many things, even of great value. Some are looking for treasures accumulated by adventurous sailors. You want to make this old bald talk? You don't know if he's saying true things or just fantasy. What do you mean? Who doesn't want people to roam freely? Who are the forbidden places? What are the forbidden places? I can't talk about it. I have to go now. You notice a couple of guys approaching. They look like dock workers. They're wearing blue shirts with yellow lettering that reads S&A. Jim Zadok hurried toward one of the many cone-like streets leading from the port to the center of Innsmouth. It almost seemed like he was spooked by the arrival of the 2 guys. While exploring the city, you come across a museum. You decide to enter. You walk through the door of the Innsmouth Museum and are greeted by the smell of dust and antiquity. The old caretaker smiles at you, but there's a hint of mischief in his scrutinizing eyes. Welcome, traveler, to the hidden depths of Innsmouth. Here, history is intertwined with mystery and legend. You thank him and tell him you're there to explore the rich history of this mysterious town. Thanks. I'm here to dive into the history of this town. You venture among the display cases filled with ancient artifacts and relics, looking for clues about the legends surrounding Innsmouth. As you look closely, you feel a chill down your spine as if someone is watching you from somewhere in the shadows. There seem to be many secrets hidden here. You pause in front of a showcase displaying old yellowed scrolls and strange marine relics. The feeling of being watched intensifies, and you shake your head to dispel the sense of oppression. This museum is really creepy. It almost feels like the artifacts could come to life at any moment. You move away from the showcase and approach a series of old photographs on the wall depicting ghostly figures and nighttime landscapes of Innsmouth. Your mind begins to wander, imagining the stories behind each image. I see your curiosity is insatiable, satiable. I don't know that word. Let your instincts guide you as you explore the depths of our museum. It's a 17th century nautical map showing detailed navigation routes, hidden coves, and unknown territories. The edges of the map are adorned with mysterious symbols and ancient ruins, suggesting that navigating those seas was full of dangers and hidden secrets. The objects you see only tell part of the story. There's much more hidden in the folds of Innsmouth's past. You realize there are hidden answers behind those objects, but you're not sure you're ready to discover the truth. Take your time, traveler. The truth can only reveal itself to those who are ready to face the depths of this mystery. With a shiver of excitement and fear running down your spine, you realize that you've been in the museum for almost 2 hours and it's time to head back to your hotel room. You decide to head back to the hotel. By now you know the way. As you climb the narrow streets of Innsmouth, you notice the houses. They're all similar cottages, but some have a patio at the entrance, almost always decorated. You think back to the submerged, decorated wall. How did they manage to carve it over 100 years ago, 5 meters underwater? As you reflect and observe a painting of a half-fish man, you get the feeling that the creature's tail is moving. What? You get closer to take a better look. It's just your imagination. You head toward the hotel. The arrow, the eagles, the buffalo, the feathers, they're all Native American symbols. I wonder what connection is there with the sacred fish and the paintings of monstrous creatures scattered all over Innsmouth. They say the slaves from the Pacific painted and carved symbols of their faith, but those are Native American symbols. What could they mean? I don't know. Hi, Emma. Good morning, Lorenzo. How was your day? Wait! Is it not nighttime? Isn't it literally nighttime? Or is this the next day? It's nighttime. Very good. I swam to the Plum Islands and did a lot of diving among the rocks. Then I spent some time on the beach where I saw your cousin. I think there were like some translation issues with the English version, and probably like any version. That's how translations work. There's a lot of mistakes. They're not mistakes, like, translation issues, you could say. Because when I originally booted up this game, I'm pretty sure it was in Italian. And then I changed it over to English. So there's definitely there's some typos, there's like mistakes, or like the grammar's kind of wonky, but that's okay. I had lunch at the port bar and then had a chat with a certain Jim Zadok. What if she's just like, yeah, I hate that guy. Oh Jim, he's a strange guy. Nobody knows if he's crazy or just eccentric. What did he tell you? Is Innsmouth the home of 1,000 satanic cults? He's been saying that forever. More or less, all made up. Emma laughs loudly. I don't know about these things, but I would say that Innsmouth is too boring a place to be the devil's home. Nothing ever happens here. I hear that your family, the Elliots, are an institution around here. This is true. The Elliots are my mother's family and her sisters. They were important when the port was thriving and there was a lot of commerce here. Not anymore today. Okay, Emma, I'm going to my room and to work for a bit. I have to leave tomorrow morning and I want to prepare myself well. That seems fair. See you later. You take the key and go up to your room. You're tired, you start to doze off, but you're not sleeping. It's as if you're daydreaming. The deep layers of your memory are unlocking, waking up your subconscious. Weird feeling, like something old and buried is coming back to the surface. What's happening here is tied to something from my past that I have to remember. I was a kid of 5 or 6, living in a nice house with a garden. It was always so sunny. Dad would take me to the beach. He wanted me to play on the sand, but I was always in the water. I loved to fill my lungs with air and swim underwater for as long as I could. In the evening, after dinner, Dad would work, and I'd play in the living room, listening to Grandpa chat with my old uncles. They always talked about Grandma Helen, who came over from America to settle in Liguria? Foreign wife. They talked about her beauty and her connection to the sea. She'd swim underwater for hours, almost like she was a fish. A long time ago, she swept Grandpa off his feet. She seemed to like living in Italy, but at some point, she started to get sad. She wasn't happy anymore. She also developed health issues and said she needed to go back home for a while. And she vanished in the thin air along with Mom. They were never seen again. You feel a deep pain when you'd forgotten about. You're overwhelmed by your emotions and memories flooding your mind unintentionally. You're exhausted, both from the day of diving under the sun and the strain of the previous day. You don't feel like thinking and rationalizing the events that happened in Innsmouth over the past 2 days. You work on your presentation for an hour, then ponder whether to go out for a bite. But you're not hungry. You're just feeling like getting some fresh air. Alright, we in this hoe. Time to turn off the copyrighted music. Worst day ever. Video game, video game, video game. Load. Dishward. The streets are empty. There are big clouds in the sky, but the music jump scared me. There are big clouds in the sky, but it doesn't look like it's going to rain. There's a full moon, so the sky is still bright. As you walk, you see a group of guys carrying heavy boxes into a house. You gradually get closer as you walk on the opposite side of the street and pass by them. A guy stares at you for a moment and you pretend not to care. That's so me, Cora. On the facade of the house, you see the stylized snake you've seen several times before on other houses and on the storied wall at the Plums. Back in the room after dinner, you collapse on the bed. You have a strange dream. I had a really weird dream last night. Holy balls, that's loud. Hold on. There we go, that's better. What was the dream? Oh, yeah. I had a dream that my dad, like, tied a balloon to my dog. And my dog gets scared really easily. So he was, like, running away from the balloon that... Like, he was trying to run away from the balloon, but, like, he couldn't run away from the balloon because it was tied to him. And then he was just really scared. Like, that was a really weird dream that I had. And then I was awoken by my mother calling me, so... The sky is pitch black and you can't see the stars. After a storm that lasted for days, your boat, a 30-meter schooner, is at the mercy of the angry sea. 10-meter high waves have been replaced by seemingly manageable swells, but they're lashed by fierce winds and currents. The Sumatra Queen, that's your boat, looks like a wounded animal. The sea boils with anger and turns a bright green, unlike anything you've ever seen, lit by the full moon, whenever it's not obscured by clouds. In the distance, you spot a kind of pinnacle rising about 30 meters out of the water. It looks like an ancient obelisk? I don't know, with a square base. When the Sumatra Queen reaches it, it's morning. The storm has passed and the sea is calm. The boat approaches the obelisk. There's no way I'm pronouncing that word right. Hold on. I'm looking it up. Pronunciation.
Obelisk.
Obelisk. The water around the obelisk follows strong currents like a vortex that prevents you from reaching it. It seems alive like the tentacles of a gigantic octopus. You manage to swim towards the obelisk. The water suddenly opens a path for you. The base of the obelisk is a platform 20 or 30 meters wide, and there's a staircase leading to it from the sea winding around the platform. Originally, the entire sculpture must have been a natural islet? A rock in the middle of the ocean. Someone carved the platform and the obelisk and all the designs that adorned it. At the base of the obelisk, there's a stone door carved around 2 meters wide and at least 3 meters high. You know nothing about it, but you have a sense. You're almost certain that at least it's something terrible. Despite the fear, you try to open it. You remember only a few details of the dream, but you are sure it is not a new story. You've heard it told by someone before. You don't have much time to think about it now. You have to hurry. The dream of the obelisk in the middle of the ocean. I woke up when the sailors tried to open the door in the rock. In reality, the three will find precious stones and meet a group of natives. But how do I know the continuation of that story if I woke up? After a few minutes, you go downstairs for breakfast. Emma is downstairs smiling as always. She accompanies you to the breakfast room. You have an American breakfast with eggs, ham, and 2 cups of coffee. Finally, after a good half hour, you finish my breakfast with an apple. You finish my breakfast. Sometimes the sentences are a little funny. You pay the bill, go upstairs to get your bag, and put it in the car. Emma goes out on the street to say goodbye to you. Hope you had a good time. We were very pleased to meet you. We hope to see you again. Thank you, Emma. You were very kind. I'm leaving! Yes! You get in the car and leave. You have set the navigator to go to Boston to the address of the hotel booked for you by Ellie. But while driving, you also look at the road signs to understand where you are. That place, Innsmouth, now seems familiar to you, as if you'd always been there in the past and even several times. Leaving the city, you carefully look at the houses. Ugly, gray, and desolate, but with something fascinating. You see industrial plants that you've never noticed. They seem abandoned. Finally, you find the directions for the road that along the coast will take you to Boston. The navigator confirms the direction. The drive lasts 2 hours. At 60 miles per hour, the road is narrower than Italian ones and, above all, less straight and full of curves. It seems different from the one on the way there. When you arrive in Boston, the navigator directs you to a real city highway made of long overpasses. In about 20 minutes, you find the exit you are looking for. It is a beautiful day, sunny and windy. You are happy. The hotel with internal parking is a 5-story building with dark red brick, probably built around 1930. At the reception, there's a very kind boy who welcomes you courteously. Are we gonna get bamboozled again? Because last time these people sent us to a place, the hotel was really strange. Professor Riggy. Good morning. Welcome. I was waiting for you. My name is Liam. First time in Boston? Here's the key to your apartment, and there's a letter from the New England Archaeological Society for you. Thank you, Liam. Yes, it's my first time here in Boston. The room is number 13 on the first floor. For any needs, contact me. You have to press 0. Thanks again. You make your way to the elevator. Your room is very nice, bright, and cozy. You drop your bag on the bed and open the letter. Dear Lorenzo, welcome to Boston, and thank you for accepting our invitation. I always say invitation instead of invitation. It's really bad. Your participation is very important to us. Wow. We hope, Ellie and I, that your 2 days of diving were enjoyable and that you had a great time in Innsmouth. We'll be waiting for you on Monday morning at 8 o'clock at the reception to accompany you to our offices, which are located nearby. See you tomorrow, Tom, Jay, and Jelly. You receive a phone call from Italy. It's Laura. Hello, darling. It's so nice to hear from you. How are you? I'm fine, but I'd be better if you remembered me. Huh? You're right. You know how I am. But you also know that I miss you very much. Oh, this is so awkward. I miss you too. What are your plans for today? Are you going for a walk around Boston? Yes, I feel like taking a long walk around the city. I'll be going out soon. What about you? I spent the weekend at my parents'. You didn't tell me anything about the 2 days of diving. How did it go? Good. Strange, I would say. Strange? What do you mean? The first night I had a kind of nightmare. The first day of diving I went down to over 80 meters and I recovered an ancient artifact. The next day I came across a historic underwater wall. The small town was a bit seedy and very mysterious. Laura laughs. But weren't they supposed to be 2 days of relaxation? Well, there wasn't much relaxation. I guess you'll have to tell me about it when you get back. Have fun in Boston. Kisses! Have a good time too. Say hello to your parents for me. I kiss you. I kiss you. You can't wait to visit Boston a few minutes after leaving the hotel. You feel like walking all day, exploring the city from top to bottom. Head towards the old port, have something to eat on the go for lunch, visit a museum in the afternoon. At around 7 p.m., you get terribly hungry. You see a steakhouse and decide to treat yourself to a nice meat dinner. You enter and are greeted by a beautiful girl who escorts you to your table. Beautiful girl. Please have a seat. Thank you. Can I sit there? She just said have a seat. You point to a table. Of course, if you'd like. This is the menu. I'd like a ribeye steak and a baked potato. To drink, a beer, and for dessert, chocolate and strawberry ice cream. The waitress has Mediterranean features. Her name is Federica, according to the name tag on her blouse. Federica, Italian? Yes, from Milan. Are you Italian too? Yes, from Rome. Do you live here? For another 2 years. I'm doing a PhD in biology. I work on weekends to support myself. What about you? Just a few days in Boston for a conference. I'm a historian. I teach at the university. Federica laughs. A professor! I must treat you especially well then. You eat everything with appetite. The food is great. Every now and then, Federica comes to make sure everything's going well. Once you're done, you pay and exchange a few words with Federica. When did you arrive? 3 days ago. I took the opportunity to do a couple of dives on the coast near Innsmouth before a conference starting tomorrow. I've been there. We went with university colleagues to do some tests on marine flora and fauna. We rented a boat in an old port nearby. Innsmouth? I think so. And what did you find out? That the sea is full of strange algae and shrimp that shouldn't be here for climatic reasons. They are usually found in the Caribbean or in Australia where the sea temperature is much warmer. It's a particular algae green which reflects light and therefore illuminates the seawater. The laboratories completing all the analysis will know more soon. Interesting, it must be because of climate change. Maybe, but we couldn't explain how they have gotten there. Someone must have brought them there. They wouldn't have survived a natural migration. You laugh. That place has many mysteries. Maybe. Have a good night, Professor, and thanks for the tip. You smile. You go back to the hotel to go over your presentation. You go to bed at 11 p.m. after a hot shower. Walking around Boston all day has tired you out. You fall asleep within minutes. You dream all night long. You continue the mysterious dream from the other night, but this time you experience it from the outside. The three sailors circle around the column. It's covered with inscriptions and incomprehensible characters. The rock is covered with many carvings, sunfish, bows, and monstrous creatures. Obed Marsh, Matt Elliott, and Bill Gilman are trying to figure out what it means. Look! The door seems to be fake. It's been carved into the rock, but it's part of it. Actually, this sculpture was carved from a natural rock that emerged about 20 or 30 meters high. The natives who poured us in this direction insisted that we came here. From the Sumatra Queen, anchored about 200 meters away, the three see other crew members shouting and waving at them as if to warn them of something, but they can't hear. After about 10 minutes, they see some natives approaching them in a canoe. They are the same ones who brought fish and fruit to the crew of the Sumatra Queen in the past few days. They probably live on the many small islands scattered in that stretch of sea. Two natives get out of the canoe, one of whom is clearly the chief, judging by the ornaments he is wearing. They speak an unintelligible language. Then he pulls out a knife and begins to carve around a point depicting a fish surrounded by some characters. After 2 or 3 rounds around the point where there was the fish, the three see that it's a block of stone separated from the rest of the obelisk. Look, he's trying to lift that block. Maybe he wants to show us something. Yeah, I think so too. The three approach. After a while, the native stops digging and pushes forcefully on one side of the block to lift the other side. The stone is moving. The other native helps the chief remove it from the obelisk. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the word right. I forget how it's pronounced, but I'm not changing my ways. It's a niche. The chief pulls out a statuette. It depicts a figure of some sort of man with tentacles on his head. The chief lifts it to the sky and recites a prayer. The other native kneels. Then he hands the statuette to Obed. When he takes it in his hands, Obed feels a vibration. What a strange stone, green with black and gold streaks. Never seen anything like it. It depicts a man with the tentacles of an octopus, small wings, and 10 feet. It must be sacred, judging by the way they handle it. I wonder why they gave it to us. Then the native pulls out from the niche 2 heads the size of a hand. They are unrefined and green. Those are 2 colossal-sized emeralds. How can you tell? You'd recognize them. They're worth a fortune, more than you can imagine. The native hands the 2 heads to Obed. The other native takes out a myriad of green pebbles from the niche. Look, more emeralds, they're huge. The 3 signal their ship to come pick them up. After a few minutes, a rowboat with 2 sailors leaves the ship to approach the column. They board the rowboat. Obed Marsh holds the statuette, treating it with instinctive respect. Matt Elliott has a bag full of small emeralds, while Bill Gilman holds the 2 gigantic emeralds. He sees them saying. He starts staring at the 2 stones as if he's possessed by madness. The 2 natives look at him with disapproval. As the rowboat heads back to the ship, a wave approaches. The sea is choppy, and they barely notice the wave. It's small, about a couple of meters high, approaching the rowboat. It seems harmless. But the wave has an unexpected violence. It submerges them. When it passes, Bill Gilman is gone. The 2 gigantic emeralds lie at the bottom of the rowboat. For an hour they search in vain for their friend, but find no trace of his body. Having lost all hope, the Sumatra Queen lifts its anchors to head back home. There are also a dozen natives on board. Their chief is with them, but they have decided to escort the symbols to their god to the unknown lands of the white navigators. During the journey, many white men, including Martian Elliott, suffer from high fever and delirium. Sometimes it feels like they're having the same nightmare. They invoke the statuette amid screams and bouts of vomiting. At this point, you wake up and think. More memories of your childhood come back to you. Memories of when you were 7 or 8 years old and your father told you the tale of the obelisk in the middle of the ocean. Huh? But you also see yourself as much younger, at 3 years old, with 2 beautiful women telling you the same story, your mother and your grandmother. Your grandmother had a tattoo. OMG. Mom was always with another woman who smiled at me and caressed me. She was very kind, always giving me candies, and she always showed me the drawings she had on her body. Yes, tattoos of strange symbols and a fish. Despite the turbulent night, you feel rested. The memory of the obelisk and the crypt relaxes you, though you don't know why. Suddenly you hear a knock at the door. Lorenzo, Professor, it's 7:30, and at 8 o'clock they pick you up. Thank you, Liam. I'll get ready and come down. Think back to the 2 sailors' dreams, and they seem familiar. I really don't remember seeing a movie like that, and it's not the type of movie I would watch. Years ago, I read a paper by a group of archaeologists regarding obelisks carved from rocks in the middle of the ocean. Apparently, they were temples used by the peoples of New Caledonia for religious rites. After so long, I dream about that story. The human mind is truly mysterious. After a few minutes, you go downstairs to have breakfast, but you're not hungry and just drink a cup of coffee. It's 8 o'clock sharp. You're sitting in the armchair at the reception when a lady in her 40s walks into the lobby and comes up to you with a smile. Good morning, Lorenzo. I'm Ellie. Nice to meet you. How are you? Good, thanks, Ellie. What about you? After a 3-minute walk, you reach a building similar to the hotel with red bricks and you enter. The third floor is accompanied by the New England Archaeological Society. You enter and find yourself among 30 people enjoying a welcome coffee. Many seem American, but some are Latino or Asian. A tall, smiling man around 65 warmly greets you. Lorenzo, good day to you. I'm Tom Angeli. Nice to meet you. How are you? We've had time to chat later, but now we need to start the meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's head to the conference room. Everyone quickly leaves their cup on a buffet table at the entrance and follows Angeli into the large meeting room where there's a table for speakers and about 50 chairs for the audience. Welcome everyone, dear friends. I'm so happy to see you all here in our offices. It's been a while since we last seen each other. The pandemic has put our lives and thoughts on hold for a couple of years. Now it's time to get back to our previous lives. I believe these 3 days of meetings will be very useful to share our thoughts on the topics we dedicate our lives to. As you know, I don't have an academic approach, even though I spent my life in a university. I've always liked nonconformists because they notice seemingly minor, but often crucial aspects. Here's the key topic of our meetings: reflection on the origin of mankind and subconscious, the meaning of ancient myths, and the historical truth hidden within the rites and legends of ancient long-lost civilizations. Many of you already know each other, however, I'd like to give a special shout out to Professor Lorenzo Riggi from the University of Rome. Lorenzo teaches Roman history, but he's also keen on the mythological and esoteric world applied to ancient times. He's also a great diver, a champion of free diving. In short, like all of us, he's used to going deep into things. You'd say that again. Everyone laughs. The attendees greet you with a smile, realizing you're the guest star of the conference. You also catch the gaze of Professor Angeli, noticing his deep blue eyes. Blue eyes! Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Tom, for the kind invitation. Jesus Christ. Thank you for coming, Lorenzo, and welcome again. So, I'll leave the stand to our first speaker, Phil Cosby, Professor Emeritus of Paleontology and Anthropology at Harvard, and a great friend of mine. We all know Phil. Come on, Phil, it's your turn. A gentleman about 70 years old, short and round, stands up and walks to the table to start his presentation. Friends and colleagues, I've spent 50 years studying Homo sapiens and their ancestors. Today, I want to pitch a theory you won't find in scientific journals. Humans have been on Earth for 7 million years. We're used to thinking of our evolution as a sequence of different stages of a single human species, but it's not quite like that. In the DNA of some tribes that remained isolated in various parts of the world, traces of non-human DNA have been found, meaning part of their genetic heritage is shared with other types of hominids, or, well, humanoids, because we don't really know who they were. Why am I listening to this guy speak? Why do I care? Millions of years ago, there wasn't just one human race on Earth, but many races, now extinct or mixed with us. Primitive men were sophisticated creatures. We have evidence that they had developed extrasensory techniques about 17,000 years ago. They knew hypnosis and went into trances. They interpreted and used dreams to make decisions. About 15,000 years ago, with the first villages and the birth of agriculture, these animals had transformed from solitary creatures capable of surviving on their own into social beings. Civilized, as we would say today. Men needed to change. Yo, let's normalize men changing. Wait. I meant like changing their behaviors, but it kind of sounds like I meant changing like their clothes or like getting naked or something, guys. That's not what I meant. I'm gonna continue reading. They're forced to let rationality prevail over their primal components, becoming unable to face nature alone. Yet this ancestral component is still present in all of us, hidden in the depths of our soul. This is my message. Deep down, we are not as we appear. We remain predators, endowed with animal instincts and extrasensory abilities. But we ignore that we are like this because we haven't used these components for thousands of years. Our rationality shields our deep soul. Everyone applauded warmly. Some went to shake the old professor's hand. Kind of mean that he's calling the professor old. I think that's rude. The game did it not mean. 70 isn't. 70's kind of old. Lorenzo really liked what Phil had said. Dear Phil, thank you on behalf of all of us. As always, your contributions are enlightening. I now pass the floor to John Armijo. John is a Navajo as well as a doctor. He comes from a family of chiefs and shamans. Are we going to have to listen to another guy talk? I don't want to. He has always lived among his people near Albuquerque. He is an expert in traditional medicine and Native American history. John was a very tall man in his 50s with long black hair. He looked shy and awkward. He began to talk about the myths of his tribe. Taking the wrong path for a few days was enough for thousands of people to die of hunger and cold. Every morning, groups of warriors were sent ahead to find the signs drawn on the rocks. There was no war for the territory. The old and new inhabitants decided to coexist and merge into one great nation. The shamans and warriors dreamt dreams of peace and not of war. This is what the Great Spirit wanted. John shows the eagle, the bison, the arrow, the sun, and the moon. These are the symbols that our people use every day to find the right path. These are the same symbols I saw in the houses in Innsmouth. Whoa, what a coincidence. I didn't expect that. After speaking, John smiled at those who applauded him. Then he looked up and gazed upward as if to give thanks. Let's now give the floor to Father Joe. Besides being a priest, he is an anthropologist and also deals with exorcism. Right, Joe? It's your turn. Hello, folks. Thanks for the invite. I'm really glad to be here. Tom asked me to talk to you about animist rituals. Okay, these are some short speeches at a conference. Tom asked me to talk to you about animist rituals, which I know well because my family, who's very Catholic, comes from Benin. Ever since I was born, I've been part of voodoo community celebrations, happy to be part of a community of fervent believers who have faith in God and many other forces of nature. These rituals are mostly peaceful and ancient, but some are violent. They summon the devil and degenerate into orgies, group delusions. Excuse me. For instance, around 1850 in Haiti, thousands of people danced all night like maniacs. They slaughtered hundreds of men, women, and other animals in the streets, giving in to every kind of violence. The police were afraid to step in during such a frenzy of collective madness. They only did so the next morning when the tumults had already died down. In the morning, they counted over 500 dead, thousands injured and arrested. I'm gonna ask questions. What caused the collective madness? It was said the night of uncontrolled violence was caused by a huge brawl among slaves coming from New Caledonia. Groups of natives belonging to tribes that had been deadly rivals for centuries in their homelands accidentally came into contact into the city's big market during a big voodoo festival. No one could stop their ferocious reaction. The day after, the police arrested about 1,000 of them. They were hung the same day. As soon as Father Joe finishes speaking, he looks intensely at the audience and puts a hand on the crucifix around his neck. After Father Joe, Maria Jesus, a Mexican woman in her 40s, very friendly and smiling, takes the floor. The god of the storm enters paradise. That's what is written on a frieze from the Maya era in Tikal, Guatemala. The inscriptions speak of the mysterious disappearance of a people. The pyramids on the moon and the sun are still visible near Mexico City. They were built about 2,000 years ago in the Maya era, buried for many centuries, and rediscovered by the Aztecs several centuries later. It is still a mystery why they were abandoned. At this point in the story, Maria Jesus, I think it's Jesus, not Jesus. Maria Jesus takes a terracotta face out of a bag painted in black, red, and green, is the head of a monstrous creature. Lorenzo remains stunned upon seeing it again. This is the symbol of the serpent god that is the god of the sky, or even the god of the storm, the deity worshipped by the people who built the pyramids in Mexico and Guatemala. For modern indigenous people, it represents the devil, you think. It's the same face I saw painted on the houses in Innsmouth, and also on the underwater wall. In Maya and the peoples of that period's symbology, the serpent god was painted on the places to be protected where precious things were found. It is a mysterious god who can only be represented by the faithful in temples dedicated to him or for the protection of very special places. So other symbols indicate important places hiding precious things. At lunch, you approach the buffet and take some meat with a side of cabbage and boiled potatoes while you eat. Phil approaches. Lorenzo, so you teach in Rome. Wonderful city. I've been there several times, both as a tourist and for work, a series of conferences. I teach at the Department of Ancient History. Congratulations on your presentation. I found it very interesting. Thank you, you were kind. Do you know that I have studied Roman history for a long time? I've always found it interesting how the ancient Romans created their empire. Yes, it's a fascinating story. I found your hypothesis that reason clipped the wings of the precious ancestral instincts of human beings very interesting. Thank you. I'm glad you not found my presentation boring. I found it boring. After about 20 minutes, they served dessert and coffee, which you enjoy, also to counteract some tiredness. Ellie and a girl approached. Sorry to disturb you, Lorenzo. I would like to introduce you to Mary Jones. She also studies Roman history here in Boston. Nice to meet you, Mary. My pleasure. Wait, she kind of bad, though. She's a woman about 35 years old of Asian origin. I'm very curious to hear your presentation. When I saw your name among the speakers, I looked for your publications. They're very interesting. Congratulations. Thank you. You were kind. And what part of Roman history are you interested in? I've published some research on the origins of Rome, on how it went from a simple village to one of the nerve centers of the world. Father Joe approaches Phil Cosby. Phil, tell me more about the research on non-human DNA parts you mentioned in your talk. I was referring to some studies that are not widely covered in the media, but are scientifically extraordinary. DNA sequences incompatible with the human species were found in a group of indigenous people who lived in isolation on a few islands off the coast of India, and it seems there are other cases like this in just about every corner of the earth. Do the foreign sequences belong to beings similar to us? I wonder if this could also be possible with sequences from other animal species. Are you asking if there could be humans with DNA sequences, for example, from other mammals? Yes, or even from other kinds of species. I really don't think so. It would be absurd, but no one knows for sure. This research opens up scenarios never imagined before. Do these studies make assumptions about the characteristics of the original owners of the DNA being discussed? In the research, they define those beings as humanoids in the sense that they are similar to hominids, but very different from the ones we know. It's amazing, indeed. It's new information that changes our perspectives on many things. Lorenzo, shall we meet just the two of us? I'd like to have a chat. Certainly, I'd be happy to. You moved to Tom's office. Lorenzo, I hope you enjoyed your stay in Innsmouth. The girls told me about it. The two Emmas, you know them. I do, we're relatives. They're my cousin's daughters, but I almost consider them my daughters. I grew up with their mothers. They're delightful, aren't they? Yes, they're very nice. My family has lived in Innsmouth since around 1850. Even today, I have had many distant relatives from that area. So yeah, now I see why Ellie knows everyone in town. Ellie, besides my assistant, is my wife. Whoa! Angeli receives a message on his cell phone. He reads it with displeasure. Lorenzo, sorry, but I have an unexpected issue. I need to run off urgently. Can we meet tomorrow morning? Sure, see you tomorrow. Wait, how long's this conference? Is it multiple days? You leave the offices. Guess so. The first day of the conference is over. You head back to the hotel. It's a beautiful day, and still too early to head back to your room. You decide to take a stroll and have dinner at the fort. While walking, you get curious about an exhibit on ancient artifacts from Native American tribes. After paying for the ticket, you're stopped by a cop. Good morning, can I check your ID? Yes, but what? You take your passport out of the pocket of your jacket and hand it over. Nothing, just a routine check. Italian, here for tourism. No, for a conference. I teach at the university in Rome. Routine ID checks? Is that a thing? I feel like it's not. I've been there many years ago. A beautiful city, Professor. When are you leaving? Thursday evening. The cop moves away and calls someone while holding your passport. He stays on the phone for a few minutes, flipping through its pages. The cop returns your passport. Thank you and sorry for the inconvenience. No problem. Good evening. You reflect on what happened. Where did they ask for my documents? The police rarely do that. And who was the cop talking to when he disappeared? Weird. Back at the hotel, you start working on your presentation for the next day. I'm not done yet? I'm not prepared? You decide to change some aspects to take into account what the other speakers have presented. Oh yeah, I forgot I was doing that. You work for a couple hours, but around 11 p.m. you start feeling tired and decide to go to sleep. You fall asleep almost immediately. In the middle of the night, you wake up suddenly because of some noises and the lights coming from the phone that light up for the messages received. You remain numb for a couple of seconds, then you get up suddenly. What the hell is going on? You take the phone and see it, you'd forgotten about it. On your phone screen, there's a picture of the old man, the same one you saw in Innsmouth. You turn on your laptop and he's there too. He's about 70, with deep set eyes and white hair. There's a sad, frozen expression on his face, almost as if he's petrified. After 30 seconds, slow tears start streaming down your face, while his eyes become very pale, almost white. You hear a bunch of noises, you crank up the volume, and it's total chaos. Doors slamming and windows flinging open. It's a noisy mess that reminds you of what you heard during your first night in Innsmouth. This time, however, it's clear that it's a storm with rain, lightning, and thunder. The image shifts like someone's pulled the camera back. You see a big room with furniture that looks familiar. The old man is stroking a little kid's head about 3 years old, and as he does, you stop crying. You feel a strong sense of tenderness for the little one. Suddenly, the images on both screens become blurry, and within moments, both the laptop and the phone stop showing any activity. You have goosebumps and are shaking. The initial terror has been replaced by a sense of emptiness and great sadness, as if that scene means something tragic for you too. You seem to remember the room you saw. Incredibly, you see the storm, the dark sky, the lightning, and the strong wind shaking the house. You feel a fear already experienced. You stay awake for a long time, but when the alarm goes off at 7, you're fast asleep. The ring makes you jump. Your first thought is the presentation you have to do, but immediately you remember the images of the old man, and you are once again overwhelmed with the feeling of emptiness. You lie in bed for a while, deep in thought, then you hurry to wash so as not to be late. You grab a quick breakfast and head off to the Foundation offices, deep in thought, to do your presentation, which is the first of the day. How did I run into her again? Hi, listen. Oh, hey, Federica, what brings you here? I've got some errands to run in town this morning. What are the odds that we run into her? Let's be so for real. It's good to see you. I'm going to the conference after the presentation. I know Boston is a large city. How did we run into her? Recollect, Professor. Oh, by the way, remember that story about the algae I was telling you about? We got the final test results. It's a special kind of algae usually found in New Caledonia. No one has a clue how it ended up on these shores. Thanks for the info. But there's more. The chemical analysis of the seawater showed an unusual concentration of antimony, 10,000 times more than the normal level. Antimony, what's that? It's a very rare kind of metal with some really unique shiny reflections. The only plausible explanation is that there's a deposit of that material somewhere deep in the sea. Weird that no one knows about it. Thanks for the info. Gotta run now or I'll be late. Wish you all the best in completing your studies successfully. Federica smiles. I still have an hour left. Are you serious? I hope that you guys are enjoying. I look so tiny. It is certainly. It's a game, that's for sure. The story's a little bit all over the place, but it'll do. It'll do. We still have an hour left.